All right, thank you for staying with us. Before we went on the break, we were speaking with our guest, African Farmer Mogaji, on the matters bordering on agriculture and the challenges that the sector has faced and how this administration has tried to address that. And we were talking about the complexities and how it is that we are not seemingly setting ourselves free from these complexities, because I am wondering, because you try to address that, and I'm wondering if this is what is making us have this matter of food is staring us in the face, as a majority of persons have said.
You see, a fundamental contributor is wrong diagnosis. Right. Wrong diagnosis. Now, so when Nigeria is planning food security, I have said it many times, Nigeria cannot just plan for Nigerians. Nigeria must plan for West Africa. So if Nigerians need, let's say, 100,000 metric tons of beans, we must plan for what Niger needs, our neighbors. If we don't plan, don't forget, desertification and co affects them. Anything that affects them, they come to Nigeria to mop up our grains and take it out. At whatever price. Like 2023, the rain stopped abruptly, about 3 weeks to harvest in Niger. So anything happening, if we are not monitoring the rainfall and farmers harvest in around our neighbors, we will pay for it. So no matter how good our plans are. Now, so next year now, Niger is likely to come to buy grains from Nigeria at any cost across the land borders. This happens all the time. So instead of us to plan for Niger, or to say Nigeria needs 100,000 metric tons, can we plan for 500,000 metric tons so that our silos that are currently empty will not be empty? And so when Niger comes, we can do an official business, government to government, just like wheat is done now, with India and co, and leverage it, because we did not plan for planting more than we need. And they come to buy across the land borders, we complain about customs, instead of it going through the ports and co. So bottom line is that wrong diagnosis of what we need. So when we know that we must take care of Burkina Faso because they are facing droughts, we must take care of Niger, then we have these issues. When we talk around, should we grow rice or should we grow maize? If we grow rice, we consume rice. I'm not saying don't grow rice, but we consume rice. It goes into our tummy. If we grow maize, it goes into livestock, which is like about 40–50% of what we produce goes to livestock. That's sheep, goats, poultry, and co. In industrial starch, almost all the pharmaceutical pills we take have cornstarch. The matchbox, that thing that lights on matches, it contains maize.
Really?
Yes. There's a lot of value chain for maize. There's corn oil. There's a lot that corn constitutes in what we do. Shoelaces. There's a bit of corn in a lot of things that we underestimate. So we should be growing a lot of corn as we're trying to grow a lot of rice, because when we're talking about job creation for over 200 million, we should look at value chain that affects across board. So if we grow maize in very huge quantities, we'll be able to take care of our protein. So meat will be cheap, chicken will be cheap. We're not wrong diagnosis. Creating jobs is crucial and feeding the people at lowest cost.
All right. The point there is our national heritage, the Nigeria flag, has the green, white, green. You remember those days in primary school, oh, Nigeria, green, white, green, agriculture, agriculture. Agriculture is the foundation. That's the foundational occupation of an average Nigerian. It was so important that we had to reflect it on our national flag. In the early days of independence, up until the 2 or 3 decades after, Nigeria was doing well in agriculture. Yeah. Remember the groundnut pyramids and all of the plantation and so on and so forth. Remember the Operation Feed the Nation policies, the back to land and all of that. These were templates that countries come to Nigeria to find out, to learn, to intern with Nigeria, to know what these things are, so how come it looks like we're just learning how to do this? We don't know how the formulas work. We don't understand. Why is it like that? And we have research institutes spread across. In fact, almost every state has one agricultural research institute or the other in this country.
So I've visited quite a lot of research institutes, and I can say we have one of the richest and robust institutes for anything in the country. Templates are lying fallow there. Experts are there. They take them abroad to help solve their problem, come back to Nigeria, but we don't value intellectual capacity here now. Again, before, experts were manning things. Go to any ministry now, is man, no man. You read history, you're in a Greek. There's, you know, I won't mention names, but there was a time we were trying to export some particular product. As a country, it was a vet doctor that led the team for a crop. It was the host in UK that called me and said, are you guys serious in Nigeria? A vet doctor leading a crop for the country? So we don't use the right people. And that's why we have these issues. But the right people are available. The research institutes, you'll be mesmerized with what is available there. So for this new administration, you know, and we don't tell ourselves the truth. Now, let's look at rice. Take, for instance, when we're exporting yams, most of the yam institutes heard Nigeria was exporting yams on media. Most of them. They were not involved. To say that, oh, this is the type of yam to export, this is the temperature, you know, this is where to get it. You cannot even do it now. Wait for another 3 months or 6 months. Most of them, they cannot come and talk about it, but they heard on media because they're not engaged and they have mandates.
Now, because of time, I want us to quickly address this matter of natural disasters. We recall the floods, and we have that every year. It has come to stay. How can we take advantage of that in the coming years? Because you mentioned irrigation earlier. So how do we take advantage of that? How can the incoming administration also look at also managing matters of that? Because there were farms that were lost in the course of the floods.
Well, fundamentally around those floods is inevitable. Climate change is messing a lot of things up. So what that means is that, and there's a lot of forecasts now. So most of the dams, they may need to reduce some water at a certain level. Monitoring and evaluation to know that those waters were reduced so that when the heavy rainfall is coming, they can take those buffers. We have over 400 dams, large, medium, and small, that can still, if the waters are reduced, and don't forget, Cameroon and others that we talk about that they are releasing heavy water, share data with us. The question is, do we do what needs to be done? So,
but we're supposed to build holding dams for those.
Yes, we're supposed to build, but it takes some time. The country is fairly not fairly funded now because we are broke. We have some financial issues. So can we manage what we have? And when this floods just doesn't come the year it's going to come, there are warning signs. So what that means is that if you inform the farmers early, then they do not plant. Then can you move them up? Or can you guarantee them that after the floods, we will support you by funding the dry season? So what happens is most of the river basins, especially in the north, because of the water holding capacity of most of those dams, when there's flood and they release it, it is the lands that will be growing tomatoes and onions will be eaten in February, March. Those are the lands that the water will take over. So can we guarantee them that it's inevitable the waters will be released, but the dry season, we're going to help you farm? If they know that they will not plant, farmers will plant because they can't sit at home. It's a mindset. You know, so this we need to manage. And for this to happen, we need we need to have stakeholders talking and the aspirants and co now paying attention to them so that they will know what to do. It's very crucial.
All right. We have to leave the conversation here now. Convener of Feed Nigeria Now, African Farmer Mogaji, thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming.
Right.
Thank you.
Well, still ahead on TVC Breakfast, ASU and Speaker of the House of Representatives, Farmer Mogaji.